Suits LA Episode 6 finally does what it should have done in Episode 3 and resolves some of the needless secondary storylines from the start of the series. Over the last 6 episodes, Ted Black, his former partner Stuart Lane, and the rest of the cast have been introduced. To develop the narrative, tense situations arise that drive the characters to their limits, but I can't help feeling like the first 5 episodes spent a lot of time repeating the same details with no real progress. That finally seems to be changing. The trial of producer Lester Thompson is well underway, and with the bombshell reveal that he did actually kill his partner in the last episode, everything seems to be in free fall. However, with the help of a team, Ted works hard to make sure Lester walks free. Meanwhile, the supporting cast struggles with keeping secrets, passing around information, while knowing who they can and cannot trust. Things are finally moving forward in Suits LA. Suits LA came out of the gate strong, with an action-packed premiere episode that possibly contained a little too much momentum and explosive reveals. Before any characters are established and relationships are formed, the show throws a grenade into the works, causing stress and frustration for Ted Black. However, since then, the show has slowed down to a snail's pace in terms of development, repeatedly following the same case and characters with very little movement. Thankfully, Episode 6 sets out to rectify that, resolving many of the major conflicts established in Episode 1 and opening the door for the rest of Season 1 to actually highlight the characters. Ted Black has been unbearable, torn apart by his own suppressed grief, the betrayal of a friend, and haunted by his past. But in Episode 6, Ted shows his true colors, and things begin to get interesting once again. At the end of the episode, it's difficult to predict what comes next, because this episode neatly tied up the season in a way that actually holds weight. However, the handling of these big steps forward was somewhat clumsy throughout the episode. Several conversations feel rigid and inauthentic, while the court case appears to be completely out of control to such an extent that anyone can see there is no rhyme or reason to how things are being handled. And despite all of this, I feel hopeful about what is to come in Episode 7 and beyond because it feels like a weight has been lifted for the show. The cast is still finding a rhythm 6 episodes into Suits LA. Throughout the last several episodes of Suits LA, I have advocated for the supporting cast. At the very least, many of the characters are fun, quirky, and charming. This is particularly prominent with figures like Rick Dodson and Erica Rollins. However, there is no denying that, at this point, there are still some growing pains as these performers struggle to find a way to mesh together and complement each other. As it stands, several characters feel like they belong in completely different genres and shows. Some lean into the comedy aspect, while others are more dramatic. There are flirtatious encounters worthy of a rom-com and there are moments that suggest the actors are serious and dramatic figures. While some connections are progressing, others have been stunted by the storyline in previous episodes. Which leads me to another frustration about the show, the writing. The writing for each episode has a decent main plot, but the execution and the character dialogue can be clunky and awkward. If the writing improves, the story starts taking bigger swings, and the characters continue to develop, the show has potential, but that currently seems like a lot of hurdles for Suits LA to overcome in order to succeed.